All right, all right. Once again, we're back for another installation of our NBA DFS show, which is the Triple Threat NBA DFS Showcase. Yes, a brand new show we just started Monday, and this will be our second show. So we're just going to continue to plug away. Monday, yeah, we'll take the L. We took a loss. Our plays didn't really come through all together. A couple of them did, couple hits, couple misses, didn't really come through. So we took the L on Monday's slate. But we're coming right back at you. And today we'll probably have maybe 5 lineups. And we're going to stick with our core philosophy of building lineups and building bankrolls. All right. So we are gentle and blissful, gifted and beautiful, generous and benevolent, and most appreciatively grateful and blessed. We are GAB Sports, guidelines to achieve and build. It's your boy Young Moolah. Subscribe to our channel. We thank you for your support. Feel free, leave a comment and like the video. So today's slate is looking kind of disjointed in that the early games, all appear to be pretty competitive landscapes as far as the Vegas totals and Vegas spreads. But then we get to the 5 o'clock window, which is 3 games, 5 o'clock here on the West Coast, 8 o'clock Eastern time. But they are 3 games that are projected to all be blowouts. And that's where a lot of the hammer plays that we would like to play are coming. So there's going to be a little bit of riskiness associated with going all in on those kind of environments. Or we're going to go ahead and attempt to navigate this slippery slope as best we can today. And so with that being said, we're going to start right into our top plays of the day. Back today, Wednesday, November 19th, 2025, and we're searching for our top plays of the day, what we call today's triple threats, the t-t-tay, here on DraftKings for the day's slate. And yeah, these are our 4, sometimes 5. Maybe we were having a bonus play today, but these are our 5 strongest plays that we will utilize in each one of our lineups. Some combination heretofore of these players. And we're going to start off right away with our first play that we want to bring in, and that will be LaMelo Ball. And this is going to be a little bit of a risk because we're going to go ahead and project here. We're going to anticipate a minutes bump today, and which could be somewhat risky, but again, we're shooting for first place in our contest. So we know that if we are correct with this assumption that LaMelo gets his uptick in minutes beginning today, because he's been kind of capped at around 27, 28 minutes for some reason. I'm not sure. I know he just recently came back from an injury, but this is a young guy. Go ahead and put him out there for the full 32, 34 minutes, right? So I believe, or at least I'm going to anticipate that it happens today. He gets that minutes bump today because we know that a guy like LaMelo Ball has a tremendous ceiling. Any given day, he can go for that triple-double. And so we're going to just anticipate that it's going to happen in a matchup as great as this matchup is against the Indiana Pacers. There's a 238.5 total here with only a 1.5 spread, so the game should be pretty competitive. Go ahead and bank on LaMelo Ball getting that minutes bump today, coming in at 9,400 on DraftKings. Our second play, here's where we're going to go ahead and search for an opportunity. And word is that the Warriors will be sitting their top players today for whatever reason. The Warriors tend to, in back-to-backs, they will sit their regulars who have logged heavy minutes, and they'll put some injury attachment to them, I guess, so they can avoid being fined here or whatever. That being the case, there should be tremendous opportunities for some of these younger players to come in and get plenty of minutes. So we're going to go with Will Richard, who's actually impressed the Warriors here with his hustle, with his two-way effort. And we're going to go ahead and select him as one of our top plays on this slate, coming in at 4,500 in a very good matchup with that paced-up team, Miami. And an added incentive here is that Will Richard played for the University of Florida. So he's back in Miami. He's back in Florida. And so that should be a little extra motivation. He'll have some friendly butts in the seats. And so we're going to go ahead and bank that he delivers today. Coming in at 4,500. Will Richard, our second triple threat play of the day. Will Richard. Okay, moving right along. Our third play, we want to go with a guy in a later schedule on that late hammer, which is so vital for us in DFS that we do want some late minutes in some fashion. So we're going to go ahead and select Chet Holmgren. And hopefully he'll come in a little bit under-owned, hopefully, because the late games at the 5 o'clock window all have a pretty big spread, right? They're predicting blowouts in all these games. So hopefully we don't get that blowout risk because all the other late hammers who are even more pricier than a Chet Holmgren, we all have that blowout risk associated with them. And the last thing you want to do is spend a ton of money on a player who's in a blowout where he might not get his usual allotment of minutes and therefore doesn't bring value on that expensive price tag. So we'll go ahead and play it a little bit below the top with a guy like Chet Holmgren going up against the Sacramento Kings, who will offer very little resistance here. Their interior defense is woeful, to say the least, and a guy like Chet Holmgren could just dominate them on the interior with blocks, rebounds, and scoring. And if he adds a few assists to the picture, that'll be even gravy, right? So we'll go ahead and go with Chet Holmgren, the Oklahoma City Thunder, hosting the Sacramento Kings, coming in at 7,600. All right, moving right along. Our next play is Alperen Şengün. And hopefully we are banking, or at least hopefully, hopefully banking that this guy comes in lower owned than what he should be because it's a perceived difficult matchup, even though his last couple of matchups have been perceived as difficult, and he's delivered a 60-plus point fantasy point performance each one of those past two games. And so we're just looking for him to keep it going, right? Keep it rolling. And also, if we have that added bonus of him being low owned, this could give us an edge in our contest. Alperen Şengün going up against a very tough duo on the interior of the Cleveland Cavaliers of Evan Mobley and Jared Allen, but we know a guy like Alperen Şengün can succeed in these types of matchups. Should also be a very competitive game environment. Two very strong teams, but look for Alperen Şengün to be leaned upon very heavily by his Houston Rockets in this matchup. Alperen Şengün, 9,500, another one of our today's triple threats. And rounding out the list, we're going to go ahead and cheat a little bit here because we're going to just go value hunting here. And we're going to include three guys all around the same price. They're all 3,000 to 3,100. And that will be the duo of Marvin Bagley, Tristan Vukcevic for the Washington Wizards, and also Trace Jackson Davis, who we will call TJD, for the Golden State Warriors down in Miami. And so we're going to go ahead and lump them all together, play one of them opposite Şengün, a guy like Şengün at the center spot, and we can put one of these centers in the utility spot for a very good bargain. And the center spot is often the position where you want to go when you're punting these plays because they can give you that unexpected double-double based on their playing time, right? And so these are the kind of dudes in these spots who could be very valuable, especially if Sarr is ruled out, which we're anticipating for the Washington duo. One of those guys, whichever one is starting, will be a very valuable commodity on today's slates. Or we can just play that early game once we get the Warriors lineup. Maybe TJD could be in store for. Either way, one of these guys will be a value play coming in as our last triple threat of the day for Wednesday, November 19th. There you have our list. Thank you and good luck. Top plays of the day, today's triple threats. Use them wisely and use them in combination in many lineups. And so now we're just going to go ahead and jump over to DraftKings and build at least one lineup. May have time for another one. Want to try to keep these videos relatively short. Okay, hot shot. All right, 3 max entry, 1,900 entries. And we want to focus on some of these smaller contests where the fields aren't so large as we're trying to build bankroll, because we believe that these fields are less competitive. There will be a lot of teams that make quite a few mistakes. Maybe they don't even utilize late swap, which we advise that you stay abreast of the news all the way up until the last game windows and be able to incorporate any kind of news to your advantage, right? You're going to implement any kind of lineup swaps you may be able to utilize at that point. If you have players available who haven't played yet, go ahead and be abreast of that news and implement any kind of changes you may need accordingly. All right, but we're going to start off this lineup with one of our top plays. And I think we'll go ahead and put him at the utility position. And that will be our center, our Prince Shingun, right? Yeah, because he is in a very tough matchup on paper. But I believe, as we said before, he's been able to exceed these matchups with some very good play over the past couple of games, getting 60-plus fantasy points in his past 2 games. And hopefully he can bring us that here today as well. All right. Hey. We have an alert. All right. This is what you've been waiting for. All right. Our top play of the day over here on DraftKings. The homeboy who be having top play of the day for today, Wednesday, November 19th. That you may need that unique play in all of your lineups. The guy who's going to bring us all the money because he's just going to go hard as a mother. Shut your mouth. The homeboy who be having top play of the day. We're going to throw him in. We spoke about him in our today's triple threats. It's this guy right here. Yes, we're going to bank on it. Not many people are going to be anticipating that he gets a minutes bump, but we are. We're going to be trying to be ahead of the field. We're going to take a chance here, and we're going to book him as our homeboy who be having today. LaMelo Ball. Yes, let's go ahead and do it. All right. And so now we can finish up our lineup. As we brought you that play, we're going to go ahead and pick some of our other plays out of the goodie bag, right? We love this guy too, Will Sharp. We're going to have plenty of this Warriors game. In fact, let's just go ahead and load up on it right now. We're going to just add those plays in right now. The center position, we got our guy TJD coming in at 3K. And then we can find another play here at the small forward. We can go with either Moody or how about GP? Yeah, GP. We'll go ahead and put GP in there, man. So we got 3 Warrior plays. Let's see if there's anything else we want to put in here. Kuminga's out. Draymond's expected to be out, right? Just to make sure nothing has changed here. Not expected to play. Okay. Jimmy Butler. Not expected to play. All right, that's what we expected. All right, so we'll take 3 Warriors, put them in this lineup. And now we want to go with our guy who we also picked in the later slate, one of our late hammers. We're going to go with Chet Holmgren. Okay. And there is another guy who I kind of like in this late slate of games. And I know that these are very big spreads, very large spreads, and particularly blowouts. But we got to play here. We found a play here in this game that may benefit, if the game stays close at least for, 2.5 plus quarters early into the fourth, maybe 3 plus quarters, game stays close. We got a value guy here we can utilize who's been on a roll as well. That's Naz Reid. Yes, plug him in right there to forward. So we're getting some of those valuable late minutes with Holmgren and Nasri. Okay, so our last play. We have a guard spot available up to 7,400. Who will we like? We like this guy. Yeah, Brandon Ingram. Homecoming, right? Isn't he from Philly? Maybe. I don't know. I heard something like that. But even if he isn't, we're going to play this guy anyway. All right. Brandon Ingram. All right, so there you have our lineup for today. We have our homeboy, Hubie Hammond, LaMelo Ball. All right, and we found some value here in this Warriors game against the up-tempo Miami Heat. We're going to go with Will Richard at shooting guard. And we're also going to go with Gary Payton at the small forward. And then we're going to also insert Trace Jackson Davis, TJD, at the center position. All right. And then at the power forward position, we slotted in one of our triple threat plays of the day, Chet Holmgren. And then we came back with another triple threat play of the day in the utility spot. That would be Alperen Sengun. And then we rounded out the lineup with two selections of Brandon Ingram against Philadelphia on the road. And we have in our late window another late minute game. We have Nasri going up against that Washington Wizards team that is so accommodating to almost any position. And we'll probably keep this lineup. So if you want to go ahead and piggyback, go right ahead. Just go ahead and drop a few dollars in the bucket. I'll link up with you later when you hit. When I see you dupe my lineup, go ahead and link up with you later. And we'll go ahead and talk some, finances at that point. So good luck to you all as we go on this journey. But we may have time for one more lineup. Let's just go ahead and do that. Okay. Let's see if we have time to build one more lineup. Yes, we do. Let's go ahead and make it quick here. $100K to first kind of lineups. Let's go ahead and do it. We're going to put 5-6 lineups in this. And so, as we do, we're going to select from our list. We're not going to change much as far as selecting some players from our list that we like. And one of those players will be shooting guard Will Richard. This time, we need a little scoring punch, right? Moses Moody. Or do we go with our guy at 6K, that being Brandon Podziemski? We'll be setting the table for these guys a lot. Yeah, why not? Let's go ahead and put Brandon Podziemski in there. And we want another dub. We'll take a guy that likes to get out on the wing. It's very cheap today. Coming in at 3,300. GP, Gary Payton II. And at the power forward spot, we want to correlate some of that Indiana and Charlotte game. I do want to correlate some of that. How about we do it this way? We take Mikal Bridges, or Miles Bridges, that is, and we come back with Benedict Mathurin. Okay. We're not going to utilize our guy, our homeboy Hubie Hammond, on this lineup. We will have him in almost every lineup except this one. Okay. And then we're going to come with our early hammer dude. That will be Alperen Sengun. And in the late window, what do we want to do? Do we want to play our 5,300 Nasri? Let's go ahead and put him in here. Let's just go ahead and put him in here. And now at least it was 7K for a utility spot. Let's see what we have available there. And at 7K, we have some more Toronto Raptors. We have Wiggins in a revenge spot. That's pretty tantalizing. And we also have Hartenstein against the Kings. That's also pretty interesting. Hartenstein has been doing pretty good. Yeah, he's been doing very well. We'll go ahead and put Hartenstein because we want some late minutes. So we got a little flexibility with Nas Reed, Hartenstein. Leaves it with 400 on the table in case we need to adjust anything later. But we'll go ahead and enter this lineup into the $5 100K, where we have Brandon Podziemski, Will Richard, and Gary Payton of the Golden State Warriors, who will be short-handed today. Don't hesitate to use 3-4 Warriors in the lineup together. They all are reasonably priced, some very cheap. So you're going to get a lot of minutes, and you're also in an up-tempo game environment. So don't hesitate to utilize those Warriors. They will be popular. Just be mindful of that. But we're not going to hesitate to use them. Then we came with a correlation play that we like. Also in that early slate, the Charlotte, Indiana game. So we came with Miles Bridges, the power forward, Benedict Mathurin at the guard spot. Hopefully he gets a slight uptick in minutes, although he's a very high producer in points per minute. So anywhere close to 30 minutes should be fine for him to bring us a 35-40 burger, hopefully. And then we have Alpin Sengun, one of our strong plays in those early window of games at the center position. Then we have two late plays in the forward and utility in Nas Reed for the Minnesota Timberwolves, and we have Isaiah Hartenstein of the Oklahoma City Thunder. That will do it for today's video. We would like to once again thank you for joining us, and we appreciate your support. Please take your time to like the video, subscribe to our channel, please, and feel free to leave a comment.